Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to the King, whose name alone is Yah, of hosts, us saying Hallelujah. Once again, our minister, Yoel Israel, one of the many servants and witnesses of the mighty Yah, here to testify in the behalf of the Creator, here to witness in the behalf of the Creator. For there is none like him, absolutely none. No king, no priest, no prophet, no other God, no other power, no other Elohim like Yah. And I'm here to exalt the Most High. And I'm calling out all of the adversaries of the Most High. All the people that think Yah is drunk, or he was drunk when he had his Torah, his Tanakh written by his prophets, recorded by his prophets, that don't believe in what he says to be true. So all the adversaries, all the ambassadors of Satan, to challenge these words today, I dare them to call in. I dare them to call in to area code 513-377-5815 and prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove these scriptures to be a lie. I dare you. I dare you. Who's bold enough to do that today? Because today we're going to deal with the law of Yah. I got to show Israel Yah's everlasting covenants, that they are binding. They are still unto this very day that we are living in, 2020. So if anyone have any questions, and they don't attempt to challenge the word of Most High, if you challenge the word of Most High, I'm just going to let y'all know you're going to get embarrassed. And I hate to do that to any of my brothers and sisters. I do not intentionally want to embarrass anyone. But I know I have people out there that just seek to challenge. They don't seek to edify. They don't seek to learn. They don't seek to reason together. They seek to do battle. And they always want to challenge instead of listening. And that's why the Creator gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. He wants us to listen twice as much more than we speak. And that's why it's recorded in the book of, we're going to start it off, in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter. Because we're going to deal with the laws of Yah, his covenants, and show Israel where they were kept and where they are to be kept today. Go to the book of Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, and tag all of the rebels in, all of the rebellious in. If you go to Ecclesiastes, the 5th chapter, this is what King Shlomo said, known as King Solomon. He said, keep thy foot when thou goest into the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to get a sacrifices of foods, for they consider not that they do evil. So unlike the Christian church, if Israelites are going to these camps and attempting to learn the words of the Most High, in which many of them, I have to admit, that they're going in, but they're not learning the word of the Most High. They're learning what Paul said to the Romans, what Paul said to the Ephesians, what Paul said to the Galatians. And the Creator never said Paul to spread his message, to spread his word. The Most High only sent prophets and prophetess to go warn Israel. And these prophets were called watchmen. Now, everybody can't be a watchman. Now, you're afraid of the people, if you're afraid of the faces, if you're afraid you're going to be ostracized and talked about, and maybe even killed or murdered by your own people, then you cannot be a watchman of Yah. Yah don't send no fearful men out to go battle. You got to be very strong and courageous. So, if you're going into these places, force their hand to tell you what thus said, many of you call Yahweh. Have your leaders and teachers tell you what Yahweh said. Have them tell you what Yahuwah said. Have them tell you what many of you call Yahweh said. But for you all to waste hours and upon hours every week going to these places of so-called worship and tempted to hear the word of the mighty Yah, the Creator, and all day they teaching you what Paul said, what Peter said, what Christ said, you might as well stay at home. It was a waste of time. But when you go into a place that is teaching what thus saith Yah, not adding to his word, not diminishing from his word, because there's no need to, because the law is perfect, then you should be in there paying attention with your books open, with your notepad taking notes, and hopefully they allow you to ask questions with things that you don't understand. Hopefully, but their account don't function that way. But nevertheless, you ought to go in and be more ready to hear than to get the sacrifices of foods. Now let's deal with the laws and covenants of the mighty Yah. We're going to first start off with a covenant that he didn't make with just Israelites, that he made with all the inhabitants of the earth. Let's go to the book of Bereshit. Go to the book of Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. And y'all follow along with me. See if I'm accurate. See if I'm adding anything to the book, or if I'm taking anything away from the book. Because there's no need for me to. But I assure you, my opponents will. They will. So let's go to the book of Genesis, the 9th chapter. And let's see what it says in Genesis, the 9th chapter. This is what the mighty Yah told Noah in the book of Genesis, the 9th chapter. We're going to start reading it at verse number 8. It says, and Elohim spoke unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, and I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there be any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, this is the token of the covenant, which I will make between me and you, Noah, and everything that's going to be on earth, every living creature that is with you, for a perpetual covenant. Now, what's a perpetual covenant? A perpetual covenant is an everlasting covenant. I do set my bow, and the bow is a token of the agreement that the Creator had with Noah and his sons, because they was only people at that time, and their wives, and all the beasts, and all the fowl that was on earth. And today we still see that bow in a day of rain. And today we call that the rainbow. And that proves all Christian ministers to be liars. I mean, all of them. Because they teach that the old covenant is done away with. They teach that the Holy Scriptures, the truth of the mighty Yah, is done away with. Well, if that is true, in fact, indeed, you will not be seeing what they call the rainbow today, folks. And this is an everlasting covenant. This is a covenant that was made a few years away from creation. You're talking about hundreds of years, thousands of years ago in the book of Bereshit. But yet we still see that today. Then let's go to the book of, that's one covenant, that's everlasting. Then let's go to the book of, because I made lots of posts today. And I asked Israelites that they don't like answering direct questions. They like going around, but they want me to answer all their questions. And the Creator said he hates the unjust balance. So this is my platform. And you all call in. So I can question you. And you can question me. That's only fair. It's only right. I don't need you to filibuster. I don't need no windbags calling in. Just direct questions, answers, get right to the point. No need of running all over the book. Get to the heart of the matter. When I ask you a question, back it up by the word of Yah. I don't need you turning to an epistle or a letter of Paul. I don't need you running to the Quran. Now, if I go to the Quran and bring something out, you can attempt to defend it. If I go to the New Testament and bring something out, you can attempt to defend it, but you have no defense when I attack the Quran and the New Testament. And I'm not attacking you all. I'm attacking your religious doctrines. And both the Quran and the New Testament are Johnny-come-latelys. Both are verification from the Torah, from what they call the Old Testament. If you did not have the so-called Old Testament, the New Testament would not exist. The Quran would not exist. And as I always say it, and I'm going to say it today, and I'll offer any man, and I love doing it. I love doing this because I know no one can back it up and prove me wrong. There are no prophets in the Quran. There are no prophets in the New Testament, period. Absolutely none. And I give any man living $5,000 to prove me wrong. Show me where Muhammad was a prophet, not a mighty Yah. Show me where Yah raised up an Ishmaelite. Show me where Christ was a prophet and he spoke in the name of the mighty Yah. Because all prophets came in the name of the Father. They came and spoke. Thus said Yahuwah. Thus said Yahweh. No prophet came and spoke to the children of Israel in their own stead. Absolutely none. After the Creator gave you all what you wanted, because we said we did not want to hear the word of the Father no more. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter. So we said, okay, Shemaiah, Moses, this is what I'm going to do. You come and stand by me, and I'm going to tell you all that you should speak unto them. That's book. That's not my opinion. That's what the book say. So what he do was Moses or Moshe. He sent them to Pharaoh. And when he went to Pharaoh, he told him, thus said Yahweh, thus said Yahuwah. Israel is my son, even my firstborn son. And if you don't let my son go, the mighty Yah gonna slay your son. You will not find that in the New Testament. Absolutely nowhere. You will not find that in the book called the Quran. Absolutely nowhere, folks. So if you've been brainwashed to believe so-called God speaks in these books, he does not. The Father does not. And even the Christ in the New Testament said he does not. See, I don't want to hear nothing about no voice, what no voice said. Show me what a Father speaks in the book. But let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. It ain't gonna call in these toddlers. And I gotta call them what they are. Toddlers. That's why get a historian to call in. Get a teacher to call in. Because I don't want no little infantry soldiers. Get just tore to pieces. Get a teacher. Because the Creator says the leaders of this people close to the air, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. And let's go to the let's start at verse number 12. Deuteronomy chapter 4. You want to read that? Yes.
And Yah spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude.
Saw no what?
Similitude.
Okay. If the children of Israel did not see no similitude, what they doing with a hippie on a stick? Keep reading.
Only ye heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform.
Hold on. He commanded who to perform it?
You.
Who?
You.
Who is you?
Children of Israel.
The children of Israel. He commanded you all to perform this. Myself is included. His covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. So these are not only commandments and laws. They are a covenant, everlasting. And you can't call yourself keeping 9 without the 10th one. You can't call yourself keeping the first 2 without the other 8. All of them is an agreement, a covenant. So you all that's out there of the erroneous opinion that you don't have to keep the Shabbat day in exile, then why are you keeping the first commandment? Why are you keeping the second commandment, the third commandment, the fourth commandment, the fifth? That's a contradiction. You are walking contradiction. You are a liar, the truth ain't in you. I gotta tell you like that, you are a liar from the pits of hell. A liar from the pits of hell. And like I said, ain't nobody putting no gun to y'all head, telling y'all don't keep Shabbat, you can't keep it. You making that conscious choice, that conscious decision to do that. And our people rested in Egypt. Fact. And I got the scriptures to back them up. Fact. Not my opinion. So we see that the 10 Commandments is a covenant. And what do y'all say about his covenants? Let's go to the book of Psalms. Call all these midgets, tag them. All these rebels on Facebook, tell them I'm live. Have them call in. Go to the book of Psalms. What do y'all say about his covenant? Go to Psalms 89. Go to Psalms 89. Psalms the 89th division. And this was the most I said in Psalms 89th division. The 34th verse. He says something to the effect, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips. Says something to that effect. Psalms 89 verse 34.
My covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that is gone out of my lips.
Now, why would he want to alter or change that was gone out of his lips? Well, let me quote this for you. According to Malachi, the 3rd chapter, the 6th verse, he said, I am Yahuwah, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. You sons of Yaakov are not consumed. Even from the days of your fathers have you went away from my ordinances and have not kept them. And you still going away from the ordinances of Yah. You all still going away from his commandments, from his laws, from his statutes, from his precepts, even unto this very day. And the mighty Yah let me know who I'm dealing with today. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. Because he let me know who I'm dealing with. And this is what he reminded all the watchmen of. Go to Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. Ezekiel chapter 2. And verse 3. Go ahead.
And he said unto me,
my beloved wife, Yakira, go ahead.
And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation.
To a rebellious who?
Nation.
A rebellious who?
Nation.
A rebellious nation. Go ahead.
That have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day.
Even unto this very day that I'm speaking to you all. You still are transgressing. You still are rebelling against Yah. Go ahead, verse 4.
For they are impotent children and stiff-hearted.
They what kind of children?
Impotent.
They impotent children and what?
Stiff-hearted.
Stiff-hearted. Unmerciless children. Unforgiving children. Children that hold grudges for years. Don't want to let stuff go. Want to bring stuff up for somebody passed 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Go ahead.
I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus said Yah, Yah Elohim. So
he told the prophet Ezekiel the same thing he told Moses. And what did Ezekiel do? He went and told the people, what thus said Yah Elohim. Continue reading.
And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house.
Rebellious.
Yet shall know that there has been a prophet among you.
So the Maya said, Yoel, they gotta know there has been a prophet amongst them.
Mm-hmm.
After you done tearing them to pieces, after you done warning them, after you done correcting them for their foolish errors, for being so rebellious, They're going to know that Yah do raise up prophets in Babylon. They is going to know that the mighty Yah does raise up prophets in ancient Kemet. He does raise up prophets in modern day Babylon. Go ahead.
And thou son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words.
And I'm not.
Their bearers and their thorns.
They what kind of people? Say that again so all they can hear it.
Neither be afraid of their words, their bearers and their thorns. Be with thee that thou doesn't dwell among the scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though there be a rebellious house.
So he said, a scorpion. What's a scorpion? You know, a scorpion is one of the most deadliest creatures on earth. Got that little tail that just curl up. That thing stings you, you're gone. And he equated our people to scorpions. Thorns. Your ball ever, as your little child, ever ran into a thorn bush, and you have to go in there and get it, and as soon as you stuff your hand in, you're like, ah! Like a porcupine, just like, ah! He equated Israel to something of that nature, deadly. But he let me know, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of them. I'm not. None of them. Because I come in the name of Yah. And like David said, I come in the name of the true and living Elohim. And like Joshua said, these people named nothing but bread. These brothers and sisters on Facebook and YouTube, they bread. These so-called Ashkenazi Jews, they bread. These Muslim imams are bread. These Israelite Christian pastors, bread. And all the Christian ministers, they nothing but bread. The battle is already over. The war is already over. The mighty Yah already let me know I don't won the battle before he even began. And as I told one brother, if I did debate him, the internet would be full of blood. All over it. So let's go back, and since we're dealing with the covenants of Yah. Let's go to the book of, but I have to bring that out, let you know what type of people I'm dealing with. Go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 29th chapter. Deuteronomy chapter 29. The 29th chapter of Deuteronomy. Now let me ask you all. Who all was there in the days of Moses? Who all on internet that you think you've been reborn again or reincarnated, been raised up? And that you was back there during that time? Because I'm gonna show you what the word of the Most High said. For us that wasn't there at that time, when he made the covenant with his people. When he made the covenant with his people. Look what it says in Deuteronomy 29th chapter. We're going to start in the verse 9.
Verse 9.
In verse 9.
Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do.
Uh-oh, do y'all hear that? Keep the words of this covenant, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Now, what did Solomon say? Solomon said, when the goings of a man please Yah, he would even make his enemies to be at peace with him. And according to the keeping of the law, the commandments, the Most High said, you shall be prosperous and have good success. Go ahead. Verse 10.
Ye stand this day, all of you, before Yah, your Elohim, your captains of your tribes, your elders, your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in the camp, from the hearer of thy woods unto the drawers of thy water, that thou shalt enter into the covenant with Yah thy Elohim, and into his oath which Yah thy Elohim maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a Elohim, as he has said unto thee, and as he has sworn unto thy father, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath.
So he said, neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath. And Moses is speaking to the children of Israel at that time in history. Now look what else he says. Go ahead, verse 15.
But with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahweh our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day.
So he said, well, also this covenant is with him that is not here with us this day. Now, was you there, Israel, Yehuda? Was you there that day? And all the other no law keepers on Facebook. How many of you all was there? Because the covenant was not only made for those that was there, but for those that was not there. And this what you get when you get brothers that have not studied intensely. They think they know the book, but they don't know the book at all. And the creator said he turned wise man knowledge backwards. And this what happens. This what occurs when you start walking backwards. Then let's go to the book of Psalms. Psalms 111. Let's go to Psalms 111. And when we get to Psalms 111, it says in verse number 7, the works of his hands are verity and judgment. All his commandments are sure. They stand fast for how long?
Forever.
Until Christ come. Until Paul come. Until the prophet Muhammad come. They stand fast forever and ever. And are done in what?
Truth and uprightness.
And are done in truth and uprightness. He sent redemption. No, what's redemption? Redemption is salvation. Redeemed. Being saved. And who did he send his redemption to?
Unto his people.
Unto his people, Israel. Go ahead.
He has commanded us covenant.
He has commanded his covenant.
Forever.
For how long?
Forever.
For how long?
Forever.
Now, did you all hear that? He has commanded his covenant not until these Facebook witches come along and try to entice you all not to keep the law. Said he has commanded his covenants forever. What else does it say?
Holy and reverend is his name.
Holy and reverend is his name. So it's not Reverend Al Sharpton's name. It's not just Reverend, it ain't no Reverend Jesse Jackson. It says holy and reverend is his name. So no minister should be calling themselves by the name of reverend. That means to revere, to hold in high esteem, to be feared. And the Most High said he should be feared in the assembly of the saints. So now when you understand that, another witness of Yah's covenant being forever. Let's go now. Let's go to the book of, and his commandments, because his covenant is his 10 commandments. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, to show Israel a few things. Go to Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, because I'm going to show you a prophet that was in captivity and what Yah told him to do. Go to Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. And once you get Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter, I want you to read. See, they all run when I come on live. They want to flood my posts when I'm not on. But when I come on live, everybody's running. They're running from you. Hell. Why run from me? I'm just another teacher. I'm just an average teacher out here. Why are they running? Let me tell you why they're running. Because they know I'm not the average teacher out here. That's why they all run when I come on live. And they won't dare call in to challenge what I'm saying. So let's go to Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter. And let's start reading at verse number 10.
Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thy heart and hear with thy ears. And go get thee to them of the captivity.
Hold on. Go get thee to them of the who?
Captivity.
Now, why would he want to send Ezekiel to them of the captivity? Why would he want to, what might y'all do, want to do that for? He don't got nothing to say to us while we're in captivity. He know he sent us here for, we say 400 years of punishment. Now, why do he want to send Ezekiel to those brothers and sisters in Babylon that were sent to Babylon for 70 years. Now, what message did he want Ezekiel to tell them? Go ahead.
Unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus said Yah Elohim, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear.
Whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. Whether they will hear what? Or whether they will forbear. What is he speaking about? Go to verse number 17.
Son of man, I have made thee a watchman.
A watchman. Now, do you all know the job of a watchman? Now, the watchman got faults. The watchman got errors. They got things they got to work on themselves. But that does not keep the watchman from doing this. Go ahead.
Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word out at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked,
when you say unto the wicked, how could you be wicked? You don't have to keep no laws in this land. How can a man be wicked? You don't got to keep no commandments in this land. You got to keep none of y'all everlasting covenants in this land. How can a man be wicked? What is y'all talking about? Go ahead.
Thou shalt surely die, and thou giveth him not warning, nor speaketh to warn the wicked from his wicked ways.
Now, what makes a man wicked? Eating pig feet. What makes a man wicked? Committing idolatry, worshiping Christ. What makes a man wicked? Committing adultery with his neighbor's wife. What makes a man wicked? Stealing from his brothers and sisters. What make a man or woman wicked? There's so many things that can make you wicked. I can't even count them all. I can't even name them all off. Because y'all defines what righteous is and what is wicked. And anything in opposition of the law of Torah is wicked. Holding grudges, hating your brother in your heart, prostituting your daughter, sleeping with women that you're not married to, sleeping with men you're not married to, being a whore of your the neighborhood, of your Knesset, of your sanctuary, just running up and down in the class, sleeping with everybody. What makes people wicked? All the things that we do. Getting in one bed out the another. You married one day, you divorced the next day. In Johnny's bed, Apple Tree's bed. Just, man, a bucket of mess. But go ahead.
To save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquities, but his blood will I require at thy hand.
So the mighty y'all said, if you don't warn them, Yoel, I'm going to require their blood at your hand. So you can't be scared. You can't be fearing for your life. And you claim to be walking with me. The mighty y'all said, warn them. Warn the wicked. And I got to admit, because the Creator said, it's only thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. It's only thousands. So he let me know that millions of his own people can't stand the Most High. They despise the Creator. They hate that God of Israel, that God, so-called God of that Old Testament. They don't want nothing to do with it. That's why they want Christ so bad. They in love with a God that turns the other cheek. They in love with a God that loves their enemies. They in love with a God that tells them to hate their mama, hate their father, hate their wife, their brothers, their sisters, and hate their own life also. And they can come and be his disciple. You don't got to worry about being Yahuwah's disciple. Come and be Christ's disciple. And you can talk. Tell your mother when she's calling you, and you can turn to her and say, woman, what do I have to do with thee? My hour has not yet come. And when a man come to you and talk about something, can I bury my father? And you got the authority by Christ to tell him, let the dead bury the dead. So I see why lots of people want to be Christ's disciples, because he didn't have no respect for his mother at all. He didn't have respect for other people's fathers at all. So I see why Christianity is the largest religion on the face of the earth, followed by the next false religion of Islam. But the mighty Yah told the prophet Ezekiel, warn Israel. And Ezekiel was a captive in Babylon. He was a slave in Babylon. But nevertheless, Yahuwah told him, go warn them from me. Now let's go and show this deaf, dumb, and blind Negro, these Israelite Christians, that our people kept Torah law in exile. Now you see what his prophet Ezekiel warned him. Now let's go to the book, where we want to start off, because it's so much. It's so much. Let's go to the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. Let's go to Daniel, the 6th chapter. Now, the scripture says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get ye wisdom. But with all your getting, let's get some understanding of what you're reading, folks. Get some understanding. So let's go to the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. And we're going to start in verse number 2. And say, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princesses because he didn't have a spirit like you Negroes. He wasn't talking this stuff over Facebook when I'm asking him questions. Can an Israelite eat pig or not? They were running from that. But you running. Y'all running from me. And I'm asking y'all easy questions. I ain't asking none of y'all no hard questions. And you run like dogs with your tail between your legs. Cowards. Cowards. Gotta call you what you are. You're not bold. Now I'm expecting to do something with some bold lions. I'm dealing with little cubs. Little meow, 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 little kittens. Meow. Yes, meow. I think I'm dealing with some lions. Dealing with some little putty cats. But it says he had an excellent spirit in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against this Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could not find none occasion, for as much as he was faithful, not like a bunch, like we are. The scripture says, a faithful man who can find? Who can find today? A man that's going to stand up for truth. A woman that's going to stand up for righteousness, that's going to stand up for Yah and willing to die for the law. Who's faithful? Like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah amongst the Israelites today. Who's faithful enough to go into a lion's den today? The money Yah, all he got to do is threaten you with your job. You ready to forsake Yah over a job. In a few months, you won't even be working nowhere. The whole system will be locked down. And you took all that time, year after year, just spitting in y'all face. And the money Yah show you, fool, I'm the one that control everything. I'm the one that give your enemies, show you compassion in the land of your exile. And you got more faith in this heathen than you do the Most High. And it said there was needed no error found in this man Daniel. Although he said we have sinned. His prayer said we have committed iniquity. And he was so loved. The angel Gabriel came to him and said, you is greatly loved of your Pa, your Elohim. Greatly. I know with the money Yah sent an angel to a wicked, evil sinner and told him he loves him or he loves her. No, he only sent these people and protect those that with his divine protection, whom he loves. For the eyes of the mighty Yahuwah go throughout the whole earth, showing himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect with him. Israel. And right here, verse 5, go ahead, what did it say? In Daniel chapter 6, verse 5.
Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the laws of his Elohim.
No, they can find nothing regarding the kingdom. So they say, okay, we're going to see, can we find something concerning the law of his God, the law of the mighty Yah, whom he serves continuously. Whom he serves continuously. Now, if Daniel were not keeping the law, how can they find an occasion against Daniel concerning the law? This is basic fundamentals. I can't see how people can read this book and they get brain cramps. They get brain cramps just by reading this. Now I'm gonna stop. Do I got any rebuttals on what I just dealt with? None.
None.
And there won't be none, because I'm dealing with what the book say. And there's no wisdom, no understanding, no counsel against the words of the mighty Yah. Absolutely none.
Crickets.
Then we go to the book of Daniel. Go to Daniel, the 4th chapter. Go to Daniel. The 4th chapter. Look at this. And read the 27th verse.
27.
27.
Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness.
Stop. Now Daniel told the King Nebuchadnezzar to break off your sins by righteousness. Now, why would Daniel lie to King Nebuchadnezzar? How in the heck King Nebuchadnezzar gonna break off his sins? He ain't under the law. How is he gonna break off his sins by righteousness? Do you all know what righteousness is? Many of you all don't even know what righteousness is. We so bad of a shape, we don't even know the difference between right and wrong. And the prophet Daniel told King Nebuchadnezzar, break off your sins by righteousness. And what did he say?
And thy iniquities by showing mercy to the poor, if it may be a lengthening.
And one of them is by showing mercy to the poor. That's in the law. Of the poor, the needy, the fatherless, the widow, the stranger. How you gonna call yourself breaking off your sins and you turn your back on your own people that need help, that need food? How you call yourself righteous and you got it at your disposal? If somebody needs food, regardless if they're Israelite, a heathen, you give them food. You give them food. They need some water to drink, you give them water. Don't be like this heathen that charge you for water to cut your water off, because that's not righteousness. Because you get behind on your bill. See, the mercies of the heathen is, boy, it's ruthless. His tender mercies is ruthless. So let's go now. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 6. Because I got to tell him this, show him this. In the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. Now read verse 18 to verse 20.
18. 18 verses.
It said, then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spoke and said unto Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elohim. See, I can't say that about a lot of Israelites, because we're not servants. You can't even witness for the Most High. I asked one brother today, when I had made a post about swine, I said, the Israelites are supposed to witness in behalf of Yah. Now I want you to witness before the world. Is it okay for an Israelite to eat swine or not? He never answered the question. Never answered it. So I only can conclude that he eats pig. That he eats it. So he's not a servant of Yah. I can't call him a witness of the Most High. Go ahead, read. Verse 20.
And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said, to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elohim.
Servant of the who?
Living Elohim.
The living Elohim. The Elohim that said, I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. I wasn't in no grave for no 3 days and 3 nights. You all are worshiping the creature, not the creator. The creator never died. He never came through the vagina of a woman. And you want to go to Isaiah, the 9th chapter, where it says the mighty God, the everlasting Father, because you're not reading that from Paleo-Hebrew. You're reading that from Masoretic text. Good gracious almighty, get your brain out of Masoretic text. Expand your knowledge. It don't say that in the language of the ancient. Good gracious almighty. And if you even, let's say you use that Masoretic text, if you go by what Christ said, he said he's not the Prince of Peace. In Matthew the 10th chapter 34th verse, he said, don't even think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. He said, I came not to bring peace, I came to bring a sword. I've come to set a man against his father, the daughter against the mother, the daughter-in-law against the mother-in-law. And a man foe shall be they of his own household. That's not talking about me. We only have one everlasting Father. So you reading a bad translation, folks, to begin with. But go ahead. He says, servant of the living Elohim.
Is thy Elohim who thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lion?
Is thy Elohim whom you serve, Daniel? You not like these hypocritical Israelites that serving when it's convenient for them. You serve your God continuously. You serve him 7 days a week. And when the 7th day of the week comes, you cease. You stop your work. I never seen such an attack on the Shabbat day. And when it comes to Israelites or Christians, and even in the New Testament, for those of you that go by the New Testament, that is the only day that the disciples and apostles reasoned in the so-called synagogue was on the Sabbath day, the 7th day of the week. It wasn't the first day of the week. Nowhere in the New Testament. And the Christ of the New Testament said in the book of Hebrews, if he gave another day, he would have let you know. He would all let you know if he gave another day for you all to worship on. And one brother asked me, what's the difference between the 7th day or the Sabbath day and all the other days of the week? Well, this is the difference. The Sabbath day was sanctified and hallowed, blessed, named by the Most High. The 7th day of the week, hallowed, made a sign between him and his people forever, made an everlasting covenant with him and his people forever. How can you all talk about you wearing the signs of Yah? Do you know what his signs are? The Shabbat is one of the signs that you may know that he is the mighty Yahuwah that does sanctify you, that sets you apart. But many of y'all, you got the sign of the beast because you don't keep Shabbat. And you call yourself keeping Sunday worship. If you don't keep the Shabbat, and you call yourself getting baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, that's not a sign from Yah at all. The only sign that the mighty Yah gave was circumcision to all males to be circumcised in heart. And the Shabbat day as another sign for all Israel, the whole nation. Those are the signs that he gave. And of course, all of us are supposed to be circumcised in the heart. All the children of Israel. And the critic said, no stranger that is not an Israelite, that is uncircumcised in heart or flesh shall you even bring him into my sanctuary. So you don't bring no unclean rascals into his sanctuary, as they do today in the church. And there is no black African-American Christian church, period, that teaches circumcision of the flesh is binding. Because they all believe that they're Gentiles. And they all go by Paul's writings, Paul's letters, Paul's epistles. I can't get no white historian, Christian pastor to call in here. I can't get no IUIC teacher, no IUSPK teacher, no GOC, no GMS, no, none of these Israelite counts, two bookers to call in and prove what I'm saying to be a lie. All of them that teach that the Gentiles. And Christ didn't even go to the Gentiles. But most of them teach that the Gentiles were Israelites. That's a bad of a state of condition our people are in today. They teaching our people that they're Gentiles. And they teaching that the Gentiles in the New Testament were Israelites. And they weren't Israelites. Because all I ask them is this. I ask them just this one question. If indeed the Gentiles in the New Testament were Israelites, then why did Yehoshua or Yahawashah or Yeshua, as many of you call him, which is not a name, is a verb, means Yah saves. It's not a proper noun. Why did he tell them, his 10 disciples in the book of Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse, these 12 did Yahawashah send, and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles, no, into any of the cities of the Samaritans, and these were the Gentiles' resort. He said, but go you rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because he said, I'm only sent to the Israelites. Now, why did Paul go to the Gentiles? Because Paul wasn't a disciple of Christ. Now, why do Paul got more books in the New Testament than anyone? Because he is the founding father of the New Testament that Marcion used to control your tail, to control your mind with. I mean, you all don't know the origin of the New Testament. You don't know how it was canonized. You don't know the historians that spoke on Marcion, the son of Satan. So you give them books while people that Ezra and Nehemiah would laugh at. They man, what is this mess? What is this turning the other cheek? We can't send the men of Israel into war, and we got Christ, the Son of God, telling them to turn the other cheek. We can't go to war and Christ telling people to resist not evil. We can't go to war and with men that don't believe in having wives, but they lovers of men. They want to get with men. No, our priest Levite, but that man, get him up out of here. Get that sodomite up out of here. Stone him. We don't go by this mess, this doctrine. That's why when they gave the Better Israel, the Colossians, the New Testament, and had them read it and study it, they said this is one gate. Now, what's one gate? What was they saying? This book is the book of deceit. It's the book of Satan. You're going by Paul's writings. You're going by the so-called Son of God, and he was never called the Son of God, not by the Most High. The book of Job said there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before him, and Satan came also amongst them. Y'all had a discussion with Satan. You would never see him having a discussion with the Christ of the New Testament. Period. Absolutely nowhere in the book, folks. Absolutely nowhere. But let's get back to this. He said that who you serve continually, the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. Now let's go to the book of Esther. Esther, the 3rd chapter. Esther, the 3rd chapter. We're going to see what it says in the book of Esther. So I said, they won't call in while I'm on there. They'll wait till I get off and want to worry me to death. Okay, I'm going to read Esther chapter 3. And we're going to read the 7th and 8th verse. And it says, in Esther the 3rd chapter, the 7th verse, in the 1st month, that is the month Nisan. But because we know our 1st month is Abib. In the 12th year of the king Ahasuerus, they cast Purim. Talking about Purim. That is the lot before Haman. From day to day, from the month to month, to the 12th month. That is the month Adar. And y'all didn't get, only month that he named was Abib. But our people got this from Babylon. But let's continue reading. Verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed amongst the people in all the promises of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws. They ain't paying no attention to you talking about when the sisters come around, we want to know how many people in your house. His wives laugh at that. Man, get this mess out of our face. They weren't paying no attention to a lot of these laws of the land, which is abomination, goes against Torah law. Talking about there's a law against a man to have 2 wives when 2 men can get married, when 2 women can get married, when they can raise, 2 homosexuals can raise children. They weren't going, man, get that stuff out of here. Paying no attention to that law of the land. Nah, anything that's in opposition of the Most High, we don't pay no attention. And polygamy is not against the law. It's not against the law of Yah. And in a certain instance that a man can take another wife. Anytime. It's not concluded to the land. Well, where y'all get this madness from? And matter of fact, let me tell you this if you didn't know it. It's already been brought to court. A man took that to court. That married another wife. And you know what happened? He won. And I can pull it up and show y'all. He won. Because he said it was aligned with his religious belief. He won it in court. In this land. You had a man marry his own sister. You got all type of wickedness going on in the land. But anytime they know a Israelite man want to build, he want to build. No, you can't do that. That's against the law of the land. And some of you run when you run with it. I shake my head. My goodness, what have we come to? What have we come to today? But now let's go to the book. Let's go to the book of Exodus, the 4th chapter. Show you another everlasting covenant of Yah. Go to Exodus, the 4th chapter. Exodus chapter 4. Good gracious of money. It just get worse and worse. Good gracious of money. When you're Exodus chapter 4, let's read. Let's start in verse number 24.
And it came to pass by the way in the end that Yah met him and sought to kill him.
Now who sought to kill who? Moses. Go ahead.
Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me.
So Yah was going to kill Moses for not circumcising his own son. Do you know how serious that is? For not circumcising his own son, Yah was going to kill the greatest prophet that ever lived. Now, what is circumcision? Circumcision was established in the book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, the 17th chapter. And he told Abram that this is the token of the covenant between me and thee. And I'm going to change your name from Abram to Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made thee. And I'm going to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee in their generations. And I'm going to give thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou wast a stranger, all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession. And thy covenant what I established with Yishak, with Isaac, whom thou shalt bear. That's the everlasting covenant. And they kept that in Egypt. And we know this to be true, not only by Exodus, the 4th chapter, but if you go to the book of Joshua, the 5th chapter, the book of Joshua, the 5th chapter. And look what it says in the book of Joshua, the 5th chapter. We want to read in Joshua chapter 5. We're going to start reading at verse number 2. It says, at that time, Yah said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives. Go ahead.
And circumcised again the children of Israel the 2nd time.
The 2nd time.
And Joshua made him a sharp knife and circumcised the children of Israel at the heel of the foreskin.
Now he's going to let you know why. Go ahead.
And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war died in the wilderness by the way after they came out of Egypt. Now all the people that came out were circumcised.
Now what? Let's read that again for them.
Now all the people that came out were circumcised.
Now all the people that came out, all the males that came out of Egypt were circumcised. Now why were they circumcised? Because Yah had made an everlasting covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the seed, the children of Israel. They weren't like a bunch of us. Talking about, oh, come on now, Ark. We're in the land of captivity, Ark. We're in the land of exile, Ark. We can't keep no covenants outside the land, outside the promised land, Ark. What you been smoking, Ark? Well, it ain't what I've been smoking. What is what you've been smoking? Because Brother Joel don't smoke. So it's what you've been smoking. And some of y'all been smoking too much weed. It done clouded your brain cells. You can't think properly. You need to detox. Get on an all vegan diet, fruit diet, herbs. Start drinking lots of water and leave the weed alone. And that's what happens. When you get to smoking a lot, drinking a lot, because that stuff alters your spiritual perceptibility. And you think you're getting wiser. I heard one brother told me, I just get on, I don't know how. I just get, the gateway be open, the doors be open. Yeah, the doors to hell. The doors to Sheol get open real fast. Because a lot of you start walking backwards. So this is another witness to another everlasting covenant that is forever. Circumcision forever. The 10 Commandments forever. These are everlasting, not only covenants, laws, these are everlasting covenants. The bow in the sky is everlasting. The mighty Yah can't get no plainer than this, folks. No plainer than this. Now let me show you what else they kept in Egypt. Go to the book of Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Now your teacher's not going to teach y'all this because they don't want you to know. They want you to think, oh, you didn't keep nothing in Egypt. Well, we know just by reading Genesis 39th chapter, Joseph or Yosef, he was a slave in Egypt. He called that the land of his affliction. He said when a Egyptian man's wife came to him because the husband was gone, she said, lie with me. And she pressed him day by day. And it got to the point that she just kept after him. He said, hey, hold up, sis. Hold up. I can't do this. How can I lay with you and commit this great sin against the Most High? Now, sin is a breaking of the Torah law. Because Yah is the only lawgiver. And Joseph, he knew it. He knew better. He had morals. And we are commanded by law of Torah not to lay with our neighbor's wife, our brother's wife, or any man's wife, regardless who that man is. Not so with the Quran. Now, if you go by the Quran, a Muslim woman can run away from her Muslim Iman husband, or husband, period. That's Muslim. Oh, let me put it this way. Any Muslim man can take a Christian woman that that's married to a Christian man, and she ran away from that man, flee. And she said, I'm coming to you, Iman. I'm turning over to Islam. I'm submitting to the will of Allah. That Quran tells that Muslim man he don't have to send her back to her husband. So says the Quran. Good gracious of mine. Did y'all hear what I said? Let me say it again. And maybe it went over y'all head. If you are Muslim, the Quran teaches the Muslims that if a Christian woman or any woman of any nationality that turns to Islam, turns to Allah, if she runs from her husband, she ain't got a divorce. All she got to do is flee from it, and go into the arms of that Muslim man. He said, come here, baby. Come here. Come over here. Come to daddy. And he embraces her, holds her, and say, you with me now. You with me, baby. You with me. You ain't going back to that Christian idolatry. You ain't going back to that Buddhist husband. And he don't have to send her back according to the Quran. Facts. Not my opinion. What's in their book. And they all should know it. Now, if a Muslim call in and want to challenge me on that, then let me know he don't study. He don't read like a lot of Christians. And also like a lot of Israelites, you just don't read. You just don't take time out to meditate in the law of Yah. You're too busy watching Oprah and watching the basketball games. But while y'all was doing that over 30 years, I was meditating in the scroll of Yah. Yah said, son, you got to eat the whole world. You just can't read the Torah. You just can't read the prophets. You got to eat the whole roll before you even attempt to go out here and start teaching the world anything. Now, we can have discussions with one another on a private level. But when you become a watchman of Yah, a teacher of Yah, you better know what you're talking about. You better know what you're saying. Because it'd be quite embarrassing somebody come up and and put you to shame. So I make sure before I speak and dealing with anything that I cover all my bases. I make sure. But a lot of my opponents, they don't. And I don't underestimate nobody's knowledge. Nobody's understanding at all. But I know what I do. And I wouldn't know what the mighty Yah have me doing. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Let me show you what else they kept in Egypt. Not only did they keep circumcision, watch this. And these were slaves in Egypt. Then I'm going to show y'all that Egypt was our dwellings. And these brothers talking about Egypt wasn't our dwellings. I'm going to show you all today that ancient Kemet was our dwellings. So they lied to you. And the Most High told us to keep the Shabbat in all of our dwellings. And like I said, I got the scriptures back up that we did keep Sabbath. But I keep it to myself or to the Brady cats. The meow, the meow, the little cats. They come out their hole. That think they know what they're talking about. And going by Masoretic text and KJV only. I'm waiting for them to come out their hole. But let's go to Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. And we're going to start reading in the 5th verse. And look what the prophet Ezekiel now recorded said. It said, thou say unto them, thus saith Yah Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up my hand unto the seed of the house of Yaakov, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahuwah, your Pa, and the day that I lifted up my hand unto them, to bring them forth of the land of Egypt, into a land that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all lands. Then said I unto them, cast ye away every man the abomination of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the who?
Idols.
Say that again. With the who?
Idols.
With the who?
Idols.
With the who?
Idols.
Who? Sound like owl. Who? Who? With the idols of Egypt. Now why would he tell slaves that? That's in bondage. That's captives under Pharaoh. Don't defile yourself with the idols of Egypt. Go ahead.
Then I say, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the
No, back up, verse 8. Verse 8. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 8.
But they rebel against me.
But they rebel against me. Now, how can we rebel in captivity? How can the children of Israel rebel and they slaves? So he's speaking of slaves. Talking about slaves rebelled in exile, in Kemet. How they rebel? They didn't have no laws. How could they rebel? Because they wasn't doing what they supposed to do. They wasn't keeping the law. See, you all midgets think they only got the law when they came out the land. Our people was keeping law. The laws of Yah was in the earth. And then what happened when you're not been taught right, taught correctly? Adultery didn't come all of a sudden when y'all wrote it on the top of the stone on Mount Sinai. Adultery always been in the earth. The created law about don't eat blood, that didn't come with the written law. That law was in Bereshit. The law of murder didn't come when he wrote on the top of the stone. That law was in Bereshit. When the hell we been reading? Who's been teaching y'all? Who y'all been listening to? Whoever you been listening to. Turn them off. Turn them off. Because you can't grow. You can't grow no more. They took you as far as they can go. And anybody that teach you the same thing they taught you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you leave up out of there. There's nothing else you can learn. Close the door. Wise men increase their learning by hanging with other wise men. Wise women increase their learning from other wise women. So y'all let me know what I got to do. I got to go hang around with wise men and wise women so I can learn. And I know a lot of wise women on Facebook. And I listen to them. Yes, they might shock your brain. Yes, I listen to them. I listen to other wise men when they teach. Let me tell you some wise men that I know. Let's tell you some wise men that I know. One of them is my father, Ezekiel Israel. Wise man. head minister of the house of Yahuwah. Another wise minister that I know, got Prince Caius, another wise minister. You got my beloved brother, Yeshaya, the historian, Danite, a wise man. You got another wise brother that I know of, minister, Ishaya Israel, from the house of Israel. Another wise man. Another wise man that I know of, Aharon Israel, from the house of Israel, right here in Cincinnati. Another wise man, if you want to listen to. Another wise man that I know of, Elkanah, in Israel, down in Atlanta, Georgia. Another wise man. Another wise man that I know of, Benjamin, Israel, up in New York. Another wise man. Another wise man that I know of, I'm just thinking about coming top of my head. Wise man. Brother, yourself from Jackson, Mississippi. Another wise man. Brother Yehoshua. I don't know where Yehoshua, he's all over the place. He travels. He's in Jacksonville, Florida. Sometimes he's in Mississippi. He's all over the place. But another wise man. So many. Brother Zion Lex. Another wise man. I know some women. A lot of wise women. I got to start once again with my imam, Nesha Israel. A wise woman. Where are wise sisters? Sister Valencia Israel. Valencia Israel. Another wise woman. Sister Huhana Israel out of Detroit. A wise woman. Rachel Israel. My aunt. A wise woman. There's so many wise. My goodness, I don't want nobody to think they're being left out. Sister Jessica out in, I don't know where she's at. Wise. Sister Sherry, wise. My wife Yakira, another wise woman. And you know, if you're gonna be with me, you better know what you're talking about.
Get that right, baby.
Ain't that right, baby?
Get that right.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yes. So there's a lot of wise men and women out there that I ain't even named. And if you wise, this is how you show that you wise. Go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. And this is how we show that we wise in the sight of all the nations. So although I didn't name you all, because I don't want none of y'all to feel left out. Y'all know y'all wise. And this is how you show that you wise in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. Now my opponents, they can't say this. The no law keepers can't say this. But go to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. This is how you know you're wise. In Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, the 5th verse, it says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yah my Elohim commanded me, that you should do so in the land where you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. That's how we display our wisdom. Not only through lip service. See, everybody could claim this and say this. But all we gotta do is look at a man's actions. Now a man tell me he's wise, he got a plate full of pig feet and chitlins and this and that. Nah, brother. I hardly doubt that. You got a gut full of pig ribs. No. You just honor your parents like what Christ did? No. Nah, You doing things on the Shabbat day? No. I can't include you in that. Nah, it's not talking about you. You sleeping with your wife on her menstrual? No, not talking about you. You trying to get cut off from the Most High. And he said, verse 7 said, for what nation is there so great who have a God so nigh unto our Elohim, so near unto them, as Yah our Elohim is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great to have statutes and judgments as righteous as all this law? There is none. And not in their books. There are no laws and commandments in the New Testament that the mighty Yah gave us to keep. There is no laws in the Quran what the mighty Yahuwah gave the children of Israel to keep. If you want to keep Torah law, get wise, get in the know, you got to study the Torah. You got to. You got to turn back to Torah. And the reason why we've been slaughtered today in the land of our exile, because we went away from Torah. Our whole nation went away from Torah. And the Creator prophesied it. He prophesied we will eat our own children in the siege because we went away from Torah. He prophesied these things would happen. That our baskets in the stores will be cursed. We would be cursed with the pig feet and the chickens. This is a result of a curse of disobedience, not obedience. I told one brother, I said, the Most High didn't put no pork chop in nobody's mouth. You don't know the difference between a curse and what people do on their own free will, brothers and sisters. This is a result of a curse. No awakened Israelite that's worth a grain of salt will get on Facebook and tell the world that it's okay for the children of Israel to eat swine. If he does that, he's an ambassador of Satan from the pits of hell. And there ain't no truth in it. Absolutely none. And I asked one brother repeatedly, over and over again, just be honest, tell us the truth. The world is waiting to hear your response. I don't got to prove nothing to you. It ain't about proving nothing to me. It's about witnessing for the Creator. Don't have nothing to do with me at all. Ask me that question. No, I don't eat it. Do I keep Shabbat day? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Straightforward answers. Don't have to play around. Get no whole, tell no Mary had a little lamb story. You get right to the point. So let's go to the book. We left Esther chapter 3, verse 8, where it said that laws are diverse from all people. Now, who was they under? They was under the Medes and Persian Empire, folks. And then let's go to the book of Nehemiah, the first chapter. Let's go to Nehemiah, the first chapter. Nehemiah chapter 1. Oftentimes when I speak the word of Yah and they get upset, they want to attack me personally. Or they want to try to attempt to change the subject matter. No, stick with this topic. Stick with the subject, Nehemiah chapter 1. And then we can deal with your other subject matter later. With Nehemiah, the first chapter, start at the 7th verse.
We have dealt very corruptly against thee, and have not kept the commandments.
Nope, they ain't kept the commandments.
Nor the statutes.
Nope.
Nor the judgments.
Nope.
Which thou commandest thy servant Moses. Remember, I beseech thee, the word that thou hast commanded thy servant Moses, saying, if ye transgress, I will scatter you abroad among the nations.
Yes, that's where we at, in the four corners of the earth. Go ahead.
But if ye turn unto me and do and keep my commandments and do them.
Wait, hold up. He said, I gotta read that again.
But if ye turn unto me.
What you mean turn unto you, Yah? We in exile. We were sent here, you punishing us. How can we turn unto you when you punishing us? Go ahead.
And keep my commandments and do
commandments. Did it say commandment or commandments?
Commandments.
So is the Sabbath day part of the commandments?
Yes.
The last time I read, it's not only part of the 10 commandments. It's an everlasting covenant alone by itself, outside of the 10 commandments. Y'all made that. That's how great that holy day is. It's the greatest of all the feast days, all the appointed times. And that feast day is not regulated by the moon, folks. That feast day comes every 7 days, not according to the moon. That before it was a feast day, it was sanctified in creation. Before any Levitical priest, before any sin offerings or other offerings, it was hallowed, it was blessed, and the angels of the heavens keep it. Now, if the angels of the heavens keep it, we're not to keep it today, but keep reading.
And do them.
And do them.
Though they were of you cast out unto the uttermost part of the heavens, yet will I gather them from thence, and will bring them unto the place that I have chosen to set my name there.
So the mighty Yah said, if we do them and keep them, he said he'll bring us back to the place where he chose. So that's a condition. That's a condition, folks. If we do them. Now turn to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. I'm gonna give you another witness. See, I can give you 100 witnesses. Our people kept the law in exile. How in order to Most High to return and gather us, we got to return back to Yah's law. Go to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. I showed Israel according to Deuteronomy, the 29th chapter, the 14th verse, that the Most High made the covenant with those that wasn't even here, there with Moses at that time. And then when we go to Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, we start in verse number 1.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Elohim, that Yahweh thy Elohim have driven thee.
So it was called them to mind. Not only the curses, because that was the first thing Israelites bring up to prove that they Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 28, the curses. But the Christ said, when you shall come to call these things to mind, the blessings and the curse. So stop thinking about the curse and get your mind thinking about the blessings, positive. Because when you start thinking positive, I want to be blessed. And I can be blessed even in the land of my captivity. Like Daniel was. Like Daniel was. And like many of our people was. And are today. Although they're in captivity and exile, they make not only making more money than their oppressors. The Most High has softened their enemy's heart to give them allow them to have the Shabbat day off. That they're not quote unquote forced to work on Shabbat day. They took a letter to their employer and say, hey, I can't work on this day. And they asked them nicely. They want to say, hey, hillbilly, I found out I'm an Israelite and y'all commanded me to have this day off and I'm taking it off. No, you deal wisely with your enemy. You just go in and say, let them know that, explain to them according to your belief, your spirituality. You would like to have the Shabbat day, off. And, you will work on the first day of the week. You will work on their pagan holidays. You have no problem with that at all. But you just putting in your request to get that day off and they don't want they don't want to give that to you. They just go get another job. They find another job. Work your way off. That's all you got to do. I ain't telling you to go ahead and quit. I never tell anybody to just quit and leave everything in the state of a mess. Just like I would never tell an Israelite to throw their clothes out their house once a person that is awakened to the fact that they are Israelite and they got a closet full of mingled clothes, and I'm going to tell them to get rid of all their clothes. No, I'm not. You got to drive it out. You got to, hey, little by little, little by little, little by little, until it's all gone. Now, if you got the money to just do that, then do it. Throw all that stuff away. Mixed garments and all that stuff. Because we only required to wear 100% according to the law. And I'm not telling nobody to quit their job at all, but work towards moving in that direction. Now, if you're just comfortable with breaking the law and not even attempting to do that which is right and pleasing in the sight of Yah, keep doing what you're doing. And you got to stand before your judge in that day of reckoning, because he knows who's trying and who's not, who don't give a you know what. He knows. And ain't nothing we can hide from the Father. Ain't no thought that you can hide from the mighty Yah. He knows. And it says in verse 2, and thou shalt return unto Yah thy Elohim and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart. And with all, now how are we going to turn back to the Most High with all our heart and all our soul? Who can even keep all those commandments? Oh my goodness, it's just too much, Yoel. We got to keep all those commandments. Oh my goodness. Yes. And the commandments is only grievous for the wicked. What commandment can anybody call in right now and tell me that's grievous? that's hard to keep? Anybody in the listening audience, tell me one law, one commandment that's hard to keep. It's not that we hard. It's just that a lot of us have become wicked creatures of habit. We're used to having sex with people we're not married to. We're used to eating pork bacon all the time or doing this. We see, wickedness feels so good. When you're doing living life of wickedness, it can make you feel good. Pleasant to the soul. Come sneaking in another man's house, sleeping with his wife. That feels good. We love it. We love being whoremongers. Just going in women and coming out. I'll go in her tomorrow. I already got these lined up. I got one for every day of the week. And it feels good to the whoremonger. It feels good to the whore to give me a little nookie, he pay her bills. It feels good to her. Yes. That's a mad state of a lot of people out here. Yes, indeed. And the Creator said, we got to return back to him with all our heart and all of our soul. Then look what he's saying. I'm going to take all y'all questions. It said that then, Yahweh Elohim will do what? Then he will turn down captivity. Now, how are we going to turn back to Yah? Is it praying in the name of Christ? Is it singing songs to Christ? Is it getting baptized in the name of the Christ of the New Testament? Is it reading any of the epistle or letters of Paul? Is that how we turn away our captivity? No. In order for us to turn our captivity, turn away the wrath of Yah from us, we got to turn back to this book, this Torah. If we don't, our children are going to get slaughtered in these streets. If we don't, it's going to be more divorces. If we don't, it's going to be more bloodshed, you name it. And right here, the Creator said, he will gather us from all nations where the Yahweh Elohim have scattered thee. And if he said, he went to the extent that they took us to the moon, because they trying to claim that they've been there. I don't believe that they even been there, folks. But let's play along with it. Let's say they planning on taking us, some of us, on Mars, putting us on the moon, building colonies. Somebody else said, if they take you, he said, I bet you got you. Wherever you at, my sons and daughters, because I love you. And there's no place that my hand can't reach. There's no depth that my hand can't go. I know Jacques Cousteau, he tried to go to the depths of the oceans. And they can only go so far down before that pressure builds up. But the Maya said, my hand can reach down to the bottom of the seas. And my hand can reach up to the heights of the heaven because I stretched them forth. I spread them alone by myself. Praise the mighty Yah. He said, I stretched forth the heavens alone. I did these things by myself. And there's nowhere they can take y'all that I can't come and say, bring my sons from the north, gather them from the south, from the east, and from the west. Come back to your first love. Come back, come back, come back. Put away all them whoremongers from in between your legs and come back to your Abba. Come back to me because I love you, said Yah. Isn't that something the Most High told us he loves us? And some men, you don't even tell your wives you love them. Some of you parents don't even tell your children you love them. And the Creator said, I love you and I hate Esau. So what that to teach us that as great as the king is, as merciful as the king is, he said, I love you. I love you. And you should tell each other you love them. Because tomorrow ain't promised. Days come and go. People didn't wake up this morning. So you better tell your loved ones, I love you. And mean it. And show your love through your works. Not through your lip service, but through works. Because as I said, because faith without works is dead. And we don't know how to show love. We talk about it. Even as Israelites. I love you. I love you. Wife tell her, I love you. Oh, you do? Husband tell her, I love you, baby. Oh, you do? Well, like that old song, Club Nouveau, why you treat me so bad? He said, I don't know. Why you treat me so bad? I don't know. Why do we treat each other so bad? So maybe you need to put on that old Club Nouveau song and reminisce. Evidently, we don't know how to love. Well, go ahead. What's the question? What's the question?
Jessica Kyles, where does Your spirit go when you die.
Where does your spirit go when you die? Good question. Good question. I got to show you a scripture. Go to the book of wisdom. Go to Ecclesiastes. Go to Ecclesiastes. I believe the 12th chapter. Go to Ecclesiastes, 12th chapter. Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We're going to start reading for at verse number 6. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 6. I'll read it. It says, or ever the silver cord be loose, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Elohim who gave it. So all spirits return back to the mighty Yah, because he's the one that gave it. All go back to the dust of the earth. Black man, red man, green man, white man, all bodies turn black. Goes back to dust. See, in Vietnam, it was so many dead bodies, they didn't know who was who. Because the white man's body was black, just like the Negro's body was black. So they couldn't tell who from who. Verified the Creator's word that he made man from the dust of the earth. And not only the dust of the earth, the best of the earth. Top soil, jet black. Jet black soil, virgin earth. And from dust thou art, and to dust shalt thou return. So regardless of what color you are, all turn black and go back from dust where it came from. And it's so beautiful that virgin earth or top soil has the 16 elements in it that you and I have in our body to sustain life. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sulfur, sulfate, iodine, magnesium, all things that sustain life. It's in virgin earth. But my beloved says all spirits go back to Yah. They gave it. And all you're going into a state of sleep. Now, some spirits in studying scriptures, some spirits maybe get awoken, get awakened. Some spirits wrong. That's why y'all ever heard of people that a person close to you may pass, or a person in the neighborhood, and it can be warm, but you feel a cold chill, like a wind coming through, like that person coming back to see you, to visit. And of course, you got, when you're dealing with the spirit realm, you can open up gate holes, and you don't want to do that with no Ouija boards or with no people dealing with familiar spirits. You want to leave that stuff alone. And they still sell these Ouija boards at these places. You put them on your hand, and you think they're a joke. They move. You ask them questions. That stuff is real. And if you know anything about you older folks, like, oh, I'm getting there. I ain't that old, but I'm middle aged. The movie that because you got me on this, now she done asked me about the spirit. The movie The Exorcist. People that made that movie died. It was actually a true story, but it didn't happen with. Thinking the movie, it was a girl, but it actually happened with a boy, and I believe it was England or Scotland, one of those places. And I had an uncle. One of my uncles read the whole book, and things started happening in my grandmother's house. Start hearing plaster fall from the wall, and look, ain't nothing there. Chair that's turning. Is my aunt on there?
Mm-hmm.
Should I have her call in and speak on some things?
She said, don't start.
She said, don't start. Call in, because they might think I'm not telling them the truth. But I'm telling y'all the absolute truth before the Most High would not lie when it comes to this. Chair turning around, shooting up fire. You got spirits, you got demons. And you don't want to never open up gate holes. You don't never go. The Creator said, don't go seeking the dead. Don't mess with things like that. Wonder where your mama's at. Grandma, what happened to grandma? We gotta leave that stuff alone. Leave it alone. But my beloved sisters, all spirits go back to the Most High. Do anybody else got any questions before I continue on? No, okay. But anybody do, just ask. Ask me. I don't mind at all. I don't take no offense. Let's go to the book of, because we're dealing with the law and y'all's everlasting covenants being kept. Let's go to the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 6. So if you're hearing things falling in, you're moving in the house, this is what you do. Before you move in any house, check and see if anybody died in that house. Check and see, get the history of that house. If the house may have been buried or built on former burial ground of the dead, because they'll do that in a minute. A lot of these houses built on old ancient burial grounds, or somebody done been murdered in your house you living in, and now you're seeing shadows on the wall and hearing things, because their spirit is still there. And spirits can become possessive of certain areas. But go to the book of Chronicles, 2 Chronicles. Said she didn't want to get it loud. She ain't want to become Linda Blair. Come on, auntie. Let it all out.
And tell them don't buy used furniture either.
Yeah, don't buy used furniture. Or make sure you buy it for somebody that you know. Because you could bring things in. You're right. And I believe, was that grandma that brought something used furniture? Because something always followed y'all. Always. I have to tell the truth. Scared me to death when I was a young man coming up. 2 Chronicles chapter 6. But we're going to go to 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 36. It says, if they sin against thee,
for there is no man which sinneth not, and thou be angry with them and deliver them over before thy enemies.
And we in the land of our enemies. Go ahead.
And they carried them away captive.
And we was carried away captives.
Into a land far off.
Very far off.
Or near.
Very far off. Go ahead.
Yet if they bethink themselves.
Now hold up. What does it mean to bethink ourselves? That means to ponder. What are we doing in this land? Why were we sold on the auction blocks? Why did slavery take place? Why are we the last hired and first fired? Why are we the borrowers and not the lenders? Why is so much crime in the African American community? They start thinking about these things. Why are the abortion clinics filled with young black women? They start to ponder and think some things. Go ahead.
Okay. Themselves in the land, whether they are carried captive and turned and prayed unto thee in the land of their captivity.
So they got to turn and pray to the Most High in the land of captivity? For what? What do they got to pray for? They ain't done nothing wrong. The whole nation is innocent. What did we do wrong, y'all? Let me tell you what we did wrong. We got into this land.
We have sinned.
We have sinned. We started worshiping Christ.
We have done amiss.
Because the white man introduced us to the Christ of the New Testament, gave us the New Testament on the plantation. Go ahead.
And have dealt wickedly.
We done dealt wickedly once we turned away from Torah law. Go ahead.
If they return to thee with all thy heart.
If they return to thee, the Most High Yahuwah, not Christ.
And with all thy soul.
With all thy heart and all thy soul. Now, how do we do that?
In the land of their captivity.
In the land of our captivity.
Whether they have carried them captives and prayed towards their land, which thou gavest to their fathers, and to the city which thou hast chosen, and hast turned towards the house which I have built for thy name.
Now, if we were not under the law, if we were not under his covenant, what do we have to repent for? Huh? And we still eating pig feet. What are we repenting for? We still committing adultery. Repentance, true repentance, is when you turn away. Let me show you all true repentance. I still got work to do. I ain't made it, so I don't want nobody up here to think that I'm all this in a bag of chips. I am not. I done came a long way, but I still got ways to go. I still got ways to go. I can only hope in the day of reckoning, the day of judgment of Yah, that I was close to perfection as possible, and that he ordained me to be righteous and not myself. So let me show you all what true repentance is. Go to Ezekiel, the 18th chapter. Ezekiel chapter 18. And when we get to Ezekiel chapter 18, we're going to show all Israel true repentance. And I'm going to start reading in verse number 20. It says, Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 20, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. In other words, my Yah said, the soul that break my law, because once we break the law, that's sin, and it shall die. But somebody said, Brother Yoel, have you sinned? Yes. Did you die? No, I didn't die, but I sinned. See, it's just like the mother Yah told Adam and Eve. He said, in the day you eat thereof, you shall surely die. Now, 1,000 years to us is as but a day to Yah. But I'm going to die. I'm going to go the way of all flesh. So he said, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. It shall die. And also, we dealing with Yah's mercy. Because he's working with all of us. He knows where everybody at on their level. And as long as you striving each and every day to do better than you did yesterday, he worked with you. The Most High is merciful. Now, a lot of us, we want to stone each other in the land of exile. Yah did not send Israelites here to stone one another. He didn't even send us here to point the finger at one another. He sent the leaders, the teachers, the watchmen to warn Israel of their sins. And the watchmen got sins. The watchmen got iniquities. They got things they got to work on. They ain't free. So don't even let them give you that illusion. But the Creator said, the soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. Now look at this mercy. He said, but if the wicked will turn from all his sins, because this is what I'm sending you to Ezekiel, to warn the wicked
that he committed, and keep all my statutes.
Keep all his statutes. Now, I'll mind you all, Ezekiel was a captive in Babylon. But go ahead.
And do that which is lawful and right.
So to do that not only was in the law, but that which is not in the law. Don't you know some things are just the right thing to do? Let me give you all an example of some things is just the right thing to do, but you won't read it in the law. Now, I'm catching the bus. I get on the bus, I take my seat. The next stop, a 90-year-old woman get on the bus. There's no place for her to sit. You know the right thing for any person to do is to get up and let her have that seat. Now, there's nothing written in the law that tells me I got to get up and let her have that seat. But it does tell me to rise before the elders, the hoary head. But not only I'm going to rise for the hoary head and honor the face of the old man, the old woman. Hey, you can have this seat. Would you like this seat right here? Because it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. It's not in the law that you say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am. But is that the right thing to do? It's a respectful thing to do. A lot of things ain't in the law. So the Maya said, do that which is lawful and right. Do that which is lawful and right. And we all know some things we might run into. It's just the right thing to do. And people say, well, show me the law. Show me that law. I can't show you that law. But you should know the right thing to do. Go ahead, keep reading.
He shall surely live.
He shall surely live.
He shall not die. All his transgressions that he has committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him. In his righteousness that he have done, he shall live.
Now you notice, he didn't say, but if the wicked would turn from all his sins and start worshiping the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You notice he didn't say if the wicked would turn from all his sins and then start taking heed to the Pauline Creed, the Pauline doctrine. You know, he didn't say if the wicked would turn from all his sins and start picking up the book called the Quran and meditate therein day and night. He said if the wicked would turn from all his sins and do that which is lawful and right. And you got to know the law. That's the foundation. That's where Yah speaks. His Torah. That's the book of instruction. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And a lot of African American people don't even know the laws of separation. They don't even know the laws of separation, don't even know the dietary law, and wonder why they get dying of high blood pressure and strokes and everything else. So we got to get back to the foundation of things, and you can't get back to the foundation of diet by reading the New Testament and going by what Christ said, because Christ said there's nothing that can enter into a mouth that can defile a man. Absolutely nothing. So how are we going to read the New Testament and call ourselves not only being separated from Christians, but being an Israelite? It's totally impossible. And then go ahead, keep reading verse 23.
Have I any pleasure at all that the wicked shall die, said Yah, your Elohim, and not that he shall return from his ways and live?
Yeah, so you don't take pleasure in the death of the wicked. All he wants to do, the wicked, is do right, brother. Sister, do right. Stop stealing from your brother. Stop stealing from your mama. Taking money out your mama's purse while she ain't looking. Stop acting a fool. All the Maya said, all I want to do, the wicked to do is return. Return and live. But you know what we say? We say the way of Yah ain't equal. We say his way ain't equal. I think somebody should die for my sins. I think somebody should pay the price for my sins. And I believe, whether you believe it or not, Yoel, that Christ did die for our sins. Because Paul said it. Oh, you believe because Paul said it? But you can't show me where Yahuwah said it? No, I can't show you that. I got to give that to you. I can't show you one word where the Father said it, but I sure can tell you what I believe to be true. Oh, but you can tell me what you believe to be true, but you can't prove it by fact, by the word of the King, Yah. No, I can't prove it by King Yah. I just got to prove it by what I was taught and what I believe. Okay, you got that right to believe what you want to believe. You got that right. But a lot of times things that we believe to be true just ain't true, folks. It just ain't true. And we say, he said in verse number 29, Ezekiel chapter 18.
Okay, it leaves on 24.
Verse number 29.
Okay, you want to do 24?
Yes.
He said, yet say the house of Israel, the way of Elohim is not equal. O house of Israel, are not my ways equal? Are not my ways unequal?
He said, are not your ways unequal? He said, are not my ways equal and your ways unequal? And yes, our ways are very unequal. It's very unjust balances. And the Almighty said, therefore, will I judge you, O house of Israel? So he said he's the one that's going to do the judging. He's the one that's going to do the purging. So you worried about Israelites executing judgment and capital punishment on one another? We don't even know the law. We don't even know how to go about judging each other righteously. Now, could you imagine? You got a board of elders, board of mores, ministers, and they all talking about bringing somebody into judgment with no witnesses. With no witnesses. It's pitiful. Going on hearsay, going on rumor mongering, and talebearing. And you're going to come to a judgment on somebody talebearing, on a talebearer. You said a talebearer reveals secrets. No eyewitnesses at all. It'll be a pot of gumbo mess. People have done been stoned to death, and they was innocent. We want to laugh and talk about the heathen. We'll be looking worse than the heathen. All of us would be dead. You broke the Sabbath day. You did this law. Oh, that was against the law. But show me on the Sabbath. Well, it was against the law. We'll come up with our own ordinances, our own laws. Having people murdered. You got what? They were murdered for what? For doing that? What? She was murdered for wearing pants? What? Unheard of. A woman put to death for wearing pants? Yes, because the teacher teach it's against the law in the Torah for women to wear pants. Oh my goodness. So it'll be a whole pot of mess. So the Almighty Yah said, I'm gonna judge you all. Don't worry. The Almighty Yah said, when he purge out the rebel, it's gonna be a perfect judgment. And let me show you what the Almighty Yah said he's gonna do with all the pig eaters. So my Israelite brother didn't want to acknowledge it. Let me show you all what Yah said he's gonna do to all swine eaters. Go to the book of Isaiah, the 66th chapter. Evidently, he ain't got that pig out of his system, and he's an Israelite. So go to Isaiah, the 66th chapter. This is a last day prophecy. And let's start at verse number 15.
For behold, Yah will come with fire.
But what?
with fire.
So when he destroyed the earth with a flood, or the inhabitants of with water, he said, no more shall water destroy all the inhabitants. But this time, look what he says.
For behold, Yah will come with fire.
With fire.
And with his chariots.
And with his chariots.
Like a whirlwind. To render his anger with fury. And his rebuke with the flames of fire.
With flames of fire. Go ahead.
For by fire.
By fire.
And by his sword.
And by his AK, by the AKs and Glocks and machine guns that the Klan's gonna use, that the military gonna use on the Negro, doing King Alfred plan, doing martial law. Go ahead.
Will Yah plead with all flesh.
With all flesh.
And slain of Elohim, of Yah, shall be many.
The slain of Yahuwah shall be many. Now what is this brother on Facebook talking about all Israel gonna be saved? Well, no book says that. The Old Testament or the New Testament says that. The New Testament says 144,000. The Holy Scripture says a remnant. So why would I waste my time debating somebody that don't know fundamentals of scriptures? Things that's you have to be blind not to see it. So I don't waste my time on things with people like that talking about debate me. I want teachers. I want imams. I want the leaders. I don't, like I said, I don't want no little infantry soldier man marching. Give me the head. Because when the head fall, the body fall. The whole thing gonna go. And the man Yah said, the slain of Yah shall be many. Go ahead.
They that sanctify themselves.
They that sanctify themselves, talking about they holy and set apart.
And purify themselves in the garden behind one tree.
Hiding, trying to hide the pig in the Bible class under the couch. Go ahead.
In the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Eating pig feet. Go ahead.
And the abomination.
Like the Quran allows a Muslim to eat if he get hungry.
And the mouse.
And a mouse, as the Muslim can eat.
Shall be consumed together.
They're going to be consumed together.
Thank Yah.
Say Yah. Do you like the Most High is playing around? We think he's a joke. He don't mean what he says. I'm teaching you what he's saying. And anybody that is engaging in this, whether they know or don't know, they're going to be consumed. They're going to be consumed. So a hit to the wise is sufficient. If you love your family members and your people, you better start warning them to get off this stuff. Leave abominations alone. Start learning the Israelite diet. And that's why Muhammad had to learn the Torah dietary law. And then when he wrote his book, How to Eat to Live, he couldn't use the Quran. He had to use the Torah. Because the Quran allows them to eat catfish, shrimp, and oysters, and all those type of scavengers. But not so with Yah's word at all. So get your head out the Talmud, get your head out the Book of the Dead, out the Quran, out the New Testament, and get familiar with the foundation of things, the origin of things, the beginning of things. And start from Bereshit. And by the time you get to Malachi, and make sure you read with understanding, with all you're getting. And by the time you go open up any other book, you see the lie as soon as you get to it. Matthew chapter 1, oh, that's a lie. Surah chapter 5, verse 3, oh, that's a lie. In the Book of the Dead, chapter 100, oh, that's a lie. It stands out. Prodigious. And why? Because the Torah is the light. And we are the children of the light, not children of the darkness. And that's how I'm able to go into all these other books and see all the lies in them. And you got truth in these other books, but they full of lies. And I'm not talking about errors. I'm not talking about translation errors. I'm talking about out straight lies, out straight contradictions. Contradictions. So now that you know that, yes, we're gonna stop in 5 minutes. 7:30. So y'all got any questions? Got any comments? Bring them. Yes.
Moray, do you think if Israel actually thought of the Most High as our Abba and thought about how bad we are hurting our own Father, would they cry? We shall be every day.
Yes. Yes, we should be.
We should be crying every day.
We should be crying out to y'all. We should be in a state of repentance. Our hearts should be broken about the sins that we done committed against the Most High. We should be doing like David did. He said, I'm sorry for my sin. But you got to be truthful with yourself. You got to be honest with yourself and look in that mirror and say, you know what? I'm no good. I'm just a no good scoundrel. And I'm tired of being a no good scoundrel. I want to live righteous. I want to be righteous. I want y'all to look at me and smile. And I hope, according to his mercy, he let me in the gates to be with the saints one day. Because right now, we ain't worth the least of his great mercies. We just say, in a lot of our behavior, we can't even get on Facebook and dialogue without being honest with one another and just answering honest, straightforward questions. I tell you how, I'm used to it. I've been called so many names and this and that. I'm used to it. It don't bother me. It don't bother me at all. Because I know if they want to stone Moses, if they want to murder Jeremiah and do the prophets the way they did, y'all say you don't got nothing coming. Get used to it. Y'all even went to the extent he said, if I came down, this is how bad it is. The Creator said in the book of Ezekiel, if I came down and stood, and they knew it was me talking to them live, he said they won't believe me, and I am the Most High, and I'm talking to them. He said they won't even pay me no attention. If I told them that Christ ain't my son, they would still say, Yahuwah, you a liar. We believe that he is your son. We believe that the New Testament is your book. And that's what the mighty Yah said. He said the officer of Israel, they won't hearken unto you, Ezekiel, for they won't hearken unto me. And we show it that we don't. We show that we don't listen every day. Every day. So another one is in the book. And as I always say here on Truth or Tradition, there is no wisdom, there is no understanding, there is no counsel against the Most High. And every time I come on, my words, these words that I speak in the name of Yah, cannot be disputed by anyone. By no rabbi, no priest, no Kohen, no Moreh, no minister in the work. Absolutely bar none. So, are there any other questions, comments? Well, then I thank you all for tuning in. I thank you all very, very much for your patience, your hospitality, and just remember all that was said today and use them for the rebels out here on Facebook that want to teach against the Creator's word. Show them what Daniel told King Nebuchadnezzar to break off his sins by righteousness. Show them what they wanted to find occasion concerning Daniel against the law. Show them where they kept the law in Persia under the Medes. Show them what the Most High told them in Nehemiah the 1st chapter to keep his commandments and he had gathered them. Show them in Deuteronomy the 30th chapter where he said he will gather them if they keep his commandments. They turn back to him with all their heart and all their soul. Show them, Israel. Show them what the mighty Yah said these things, that his everlasting covenants of circumcision was kept in Kemet. Where his Sabbath day is an everlasting covenant. Exodus the 31st chapter starting at the 12th verse. Where they kept the law in Egypt, Ezekiel the 20th chapter, the 5th to the 7th verse. Where he established his covenant with Noah, with the bow, is everlasting. And y'all got everlasting covenant, the covenant that he made with David. That David gonna be the king, the future Messiah, the prince, the priest, the leader, the commander, David. Out of the mouth of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different prophets. The prophet Isaiah, the prophet Jeremiah, the prophet Ezekiel, the prophet Hosea, and the prophet, my teacher Elisha. Out of the mouth of 5 different prophets. That's so beautiful. That the mighty Yah could send a prophet in the town that I'm living in, that I was taught by. And I'll give her, you know what, if you don't believe it, I know he was. I know he was. Because y'all showed me. personally. You hear what I said? Because Yah showed me personally. So you can take that to the bank. So you all waiting on the prophet to return back in the last days, other than David and Elisha, the prophet, and they're the only two that I know of. Then, hey, you gotta keep waiting on somebody that ain't gonna come. And they the only two that were prophesied to come. The only two. And David, he could be here as I speak, amongst you, during a time of trouble, during a time of tribulation. Good gracious Almighty. If David is amongst us now, and y'all cursing him out, y'all talking about him like a dog, calling him all types of names, oh boy, you gonna be in for a treat in that wilderness. If that's him, I can't believe that's him. That's the king, that's the Messiah. Yes, yes, that is him. And he's gonna rule with a rod of iron. It won't be Christ. You can forget about that. Ain't nobody come back on no cloud of heaven. That book is closed. Even the Catholic Church, the Pope said Christ ain't coming back. And according to his prophecy, he's supposed to have been back. According to what he said in the New Testament, when he prophesied of his coming, second coming. And there is no second advent of a Messiah. Period. There is none. When he supposed to come, he supposed to fulfill that which when he came. And Christ's New Testament didn't fulfill nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. So with that all being said, thank you very much for tuning in. And this Shabbat, God have a real good treat for you all. A good treat for you all. This Shabbat day, so until then, it's gonna be exciting. Oh wait, it's gonna be exciting. Oh wait, can't tell you, but oh boy, you're gonna have a ball. Yes, indeed. Well, until then, Moray, Minister Yoel Shiloh Israel, will bid you all a good, great evening, a peaceful evening, relaxing evening. Don't be stressed out. Just smile, just cheese, and say, I love you, baby. I love you.
I love you too.
And may the mighty y'all bless you all. Shalom, shalom.